with the mission to keep as many men on as many guns for as long as possible. We called him Doc. Welcome to Combat Vet Vision. And now your host, Aaron Chief Seabird.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome to Combat Vet Vision. Hey, this is a place where I really get to sit down and I get to talk about my combat vet experience or how I'm dealing with things in life, the transitions, the help and support throughout the course of what I do with Warrior Built and the PTSD Foundation of America. I talk about that often. SitchRadio.com manages and produces my show, Combat Vet Vision. Hey, and I got Ottis Miller on deck with me. We go way back. We're corpsmen together in 3-5. And so he's on. He's all the way from Hawaii. We had some technical issues earlier getting him on. So sorry for the delay of getting this thing fired up. But hey, Ottis, thanks a lot.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Chief. Appreciate it.
Hey, it's really good to have you all the way from Hawaii. I know you're doing a lot of things. Hey, this is a great opportunity for you to kind of tell your story, a lot of different things that you do, and still being in the service, not in the service as an active duty member, but as somebody who's doing MCCS stuff, and we'll get into that. But talk a little bit about why you joined the Navy and what that meant to you, and all this cool training we did. We're fortunate we had a lot of time to train together even before we went into combat. But then we'll get into that and your transition out.
Yeah, I guess why I joined the Navy. That's wow, that goes back pretty far. Huh? it was a while ago now, but yeah, a short story is really it's just I had a daughter, and that's pretty much what brought me to the military. I didn't have any skills. I was 19 years old, so I had to do something. I tried working. What was I doing? I was selling perfumes and Dodger tickets door to door, and whatever I could do to make money, because I had a little baby now, so I had to do something. But that wasn't working out, so I was working 3 jobs for a kid that I never saw. So I had to do something. So the Navy came calling.
So you joined the Navy, and let's see, when did you join the Navy? What year was that?
I think, wow, what was that? 99.
99.
I think it was
right around that. Well, right around that time, because I mean, you joined the Navy, you went through a lot of training. You went to field med school, which basically makes it so you go through. Well, you went to A school as a corpsman. You went to FMSS, which is Field Medical Service School, which allows us to be corpsmen with the Marine Corps. And then you got stationed at 3-5. Was that your first duty station with the Marines?
Yeah, and I didn't even expect to go there, honestly, man. My recruiter told me, he said, when you sign up, you're gonna be in the hospital wearing your whites all the time, and you never get dirty, and he just super bullshitted me. And then I think in my corpsman class, I think I was one of maybe like 5 that got Marine Corps orders. So I took it. I actually didn't know what the hell that meant. So I took it to the detailer, and I was like, "Hey, man, it says Marine Corps on this. Like, what's that about?" He said, "Yeah, you're going to Camp Billington, man." I was like, "For what, man? I signed up for it." He's like, "Yeah, you're going, buddy." I was like, "Damn." Then he said field medical school. I was like, "What the hell, man? I thought they just went to real school." But then he's like, "Yeah, man, you're gonna learn how to do all that just in the dirt."
Yeah, it's funny because if you think that you're gonna get out of high school and then you're just gonna go into the military and it's just gonna be this like military, it's gonna be a job. That's not the case. You're gonna go to school. You're gonna go to more school, and then you might be forced to go to another school, and then you're gonna be in the Marine Corps by default. You're like, "Hey, I joined the Navy. I'm pretty sure I took the blue pill, but do you see any ships on this hike? I don't see any ships anywhere." But I'm hiking all over San Mateo, and San Mateo has some beautiful hikes. I mean, they're beautiful, but not when you're breathing down your throat and just trying to survive the 1 foot in front of the other. But by the end of the day, you're like, "Damn, it's beautiful up here." So I will say 3-5.
I wasn't prepared at all for that, man. I just not at all. I actually went to a recruiter that was a half and half Navy and Marine Corps. I walked to the Marine Corps side, and the guy said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "Oh, I want to be a medic, man." He's like, "Oh, you got to go talk to that guy." So in my head, I kind of wanted to be a Marine initially, but then once I started talking to the Navy recruiter, I took my head completely out of that. Like, oh yeah, I'm a Marine Corps for this guy, and I ended up there anyway.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people may not understand that, but as corpsmen, that's really, we can serve anywhere in the Navy and anywhere in the Marine Corps, because the Marine Corps doesn't have medics or anything. It's obviously a Navy's job, but we get supplied to the Marine Corps. We actually go to a school that teaches us how to adapt and deal with all the Marine Corps lingo and understanding and tactics and all the different things. So I mean, we learn how to be a Marine in a small scale kind of thing, but we take a lot of pride in understanding that after a while. And so so yeah, man, you guys suck at 3-5, and obviously 2000, 9/11 hit, and then in 2003 we deployed again to, I mean, well, we deployed before that to Okinawa. We did a pump to Okinawa during that, right before we left to Okinawa. That's when 9/11 hit. And then we trained in Okinawa, got to come back, hang out for a few. Next thing you know, we're like, hey, it's gearing up. We're actually going to go to Iraq or Afghanistan or whatever it was. But 3-5 was obviously slotted for Iraq, and that's where we went. And I think it was March of 2003, we hit the deck on that.
Yeah, that was a pretty surreal experience for me. It just, I wasn't expecting it. I don't think that the vast majority of guys who sign up honestly think you're going to war one day. Like, it's the military, but like, you have that in the back of your head. But, very few are just that I ran into are just like, I signed up hoping to go to a war. Like, very few have I ran into wanted that. You go with the thought that it might happen, but you kind of really think that it wouldn't. And then once it gets real, man, that's some scary shit.
Yeah, that's a really cool caveat to everything. A lot of guys, some guys join because they understand, hey, this could be a war situation. They understand the principles, and maybe their focus is on that. But a lot of guys and gals join because there's a lot of benefits to schools. There's a lot of opportunities in life. There's a learning experience. There's the hospital part, right? You want to be a medic. You want to do some stuff that maybe you can't do in the civilian world, and have that stability of a 4-year contract. And all there's a lot of really cool pieces when you put it all together. But in the back of your mind, no one really, goes out of their way to say, I can't wait till the war starts, but once the war was started and everything was going on, man, it was just like we had to be in it. You just had to change your mind. I had to change my mindset, and it was like, hey, man, I trained 10 years to go to the Super Bowl, but here we are. We're in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like how it went. And I tell people a lot that whenever this comes up, and I don't really go into too much detail with a lot of people, but really because they don't understand what I'm saying. But I couldn't have asked for a better group of guys to go over there with, just because I think that we were all put there for a reason at the same time, and we all we're there for each other, and it was real helpful. The guys that was in Lima, like, those are my boys to the naked end, man. Hector, Randy, Derek, these dudes, man, friends forever, man. Like, 3-5 as a whole, all the corpsmen were good to go, but like those guys I spent more time with than anybody. And yeah, man, those are my dudes, man. Like, we definitely went through some stuff. I remember there's some stories, man, I can get into, and even just some brief ones. I'll tell you that. I remember one time, we were bogged down, and I asked Reyes one time, hey, are we gonna die tonight, man? And like that serious question, like, I really meant it, And, he was just like, dude, you're not dying tonight, dude. We're going home, and all this, positive stuff. Obviously in the moment, I'm not trying to hear that shit. But, I really asked him that, like, dude, is this it for us? Like, it really felt like it. Like, dude, like this is the end, man. Man, stuff like that, man. You know, but like, you know, Reyes is right next to me. Randy was there. Derek was there. So, you know, we help each other out. So we're still here, luckily. So it's good stuff.
Yeah, and and just to, you know, let people understand, you know, when you got a platoon, you have four corpsmen in a platoon, correct?
Yeah.
You have one per squad. You got three squads or four squads, right? And you know, that's when you got that whole platoon put together, you got the four corpsmen that get to hang out and they get to kind of talk, and you know, this is the conversations that you might have where someone might not understand that question, you know, but that's a real question that we had to ask. And I mean, I remember thinking in my head like that too all the time, man. I was like, today could be the end, you know, because we're just traveling in unknown territory. Stuff is on fire as we're passing it, you know, stuff has already been you know, attacked or blown up or whatever. And we're dealing with a lot of things that we shouldn't have had to deal with. We trained to deal with it, and it didn't always work out the way that we trained for, right?
Almost nothing does.
Everything gets tossed out the window as soon as the first round starts coming, right?
Right. Right.
Um,
Yeah, I remember hearing that. Like we're all in the tracks. We're packed in there like sardines, man. And we hear like the tink, 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 tink. And we're like, what in the hell is that? And the dude in the turret is like, dude, they're shooting at us. I'm like, those are bullets? Oh shit.
yeah, it became real.
Oh,
It became
man.
yeah.
That was pretty scary. And I remember when we pulled up, and then the first time they dropped the back, and we're supposed to run out, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna pull up, we're gonna drop the back, you guys gonna run out, and we're like, what? We're gonna run out after hearing all these tink 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 sounds? You're crazy, bro. Like, you're crazy. We're not running out of this thing.
Hey, you know, it's good to hear you, Miller. It's good to hear you tell a little bit your story, man, because I have to think about these things. You know, it's like it seems like a blur. It seems very surreal. It doesn't seem. It seems like a dream now, but you know, just to kind of reflect back with you, man, it really feels good to hear you tell your story a little bit. Feel free to talk about whatever you want, and then, you know, how you managed all that stuff, how you came back, and then what was it that you found in your mind, heart, and soul that really kind of pushed you into your next phase of life, and what that was like.
You know, man, while I was out there, it's just like you were saying, it's pretty much a blur. You know, I say every now and then I'll get like these memories of random stuff, and it's like, oh, that happened too. You know, so it's not like a just like a running movie that, you know, and I know a lot of guys are like that. You know, you get like these spurts of memories, and like then it's just not like a running movie. So like, you know, and then when you get these memories, it's like, oh shit, like now it's like something else that came up. Now you could deal with that. And then it's like, oh shit, like, you know, like you were good for about 5 years, and then like something else would just pop up. Like, damn, man, that happened too. Like, damn. And now you got another set of problems, and now you go talking to a shrink about some shit that you didn't bring up in the first place, you know. So, you know, my first year back wasn't all that pleasant, you know, talking about nightmares and things of that nature, you know, like it wasn't that great. And then you know, you lose track of your boys and stuff like that because you don't want to seem like a punk or whatever the case, talking about your feelings and stuff like that, and like, oh, I'm struggling with this, but you think that your boys might not be, and like you don't want to seem like you're soft or whatever the case. So you sit there and try to deal with it, and then it just really just makes it worse, man. Like when I first started going to the VA to therapy, I was in the two group sessions first. I got kicked out of both of those um, for arguing and fighting stuff like that. And you know, I was one story. I was in a group session with this guy, and he said he discharged his weapon next to his foot, and that's why he's here, because you know he can't deal with life and whatever else he said. I stopped listening to him when he said that he shot next to his foot. So he wasn't hurt. He basically just got scared to a ridiculous level. And then now he's here and he can't deal with life. So I started going off on it. You're a bitch and you're this and you're that. And like, you got any dudes in here with real problems, saw guys die. And you shot next to your foot, yelling at this guy, top of my lungs. And they drag me out of there. You can't yell at people like that, and you don't know what he's going through. And I'm like, you got people in there that really did some stuff, and y'all got this dude in here just wasting our time. Just, man, I laid into that dude, man, and just, but like later the psychiatrist told me, she was like, you can't judge people based on what happened to them, how they feel. Like maybe whatever happened to you is the same level as what happened to him. Maybe he didn't grow up with a family support structure or something like that, so he doesn't know how to deal with emotion, et cetera, et cetera. So it helps you kind of see things in perspective of like how people deal with stuff, because everybody's not the same. Which is why, like, when I started going to school, I went the psychology route, because I wanted to know, why is it that you and I could probably go through the exact same thing, but like I'm going crazy and you're not. So everybody out here is really struggling one way or another, be it out in the open or internally, and never really know. So it's good to talk to your boys, talk to your friends, and let stuff out, man, because like it's amazing how powerful a conversation actually is when it comes, because the stuff that went on out there, like it's not stuff that normal people see, normal people go through. And like, just to put in perspective, I don't alienate people. Like when I say normal, I mean like people outside of the military, that don't experience these kind of things. Because even people in the military, a good percentage of them don't even experience war. Like I signed up, did your 4 and got out, and they probably worked on cars or worked in small and whatever they did, and it was a real simple life, and did your 4 and you got out. And there's other guys that did the exact same thing. They were mess hall clerks or whatever the case, and then they ended up going to war. Same job, but you didn't get the experience. So but I really I struggled a lot. There was a guy that I saw that was on a ship. He was stationed on a ship once, and he had a combat action ribbon on. And I asked him, where did you get that from? Because I thought it was on some stolen valor stuff, because I know he was stationed on the ship. So why are you wearing that, And he said, oh, our ship, whatever mile radius of sea blast, and the whole ship got awarded the ribbon. I lost my shit on that dude, like, I'm like, you got guys out here really shooting, getting shot at, and you guys get this shit off a technicality. And like, yeah, I'm fucked. Dude, that first year, I'm yelling at everybody. Everybody.
Let me ask you this: the guy that
fight, get pissed.
The guy that shot at his foot, did he even go into a combat zone, or was this a training exercise, or what was his situation? Just out of curiosity.
He actually did go in country, but he never made it any further than that, because after he did that, he said something along the lines of he was too traumatized to go any further, and brought that up to the command, ran it up the chain, and they just decided to hold him back. So he didn't do anything.
And the reason I ask you is because there's, like you said, perspective. A lot of people will say PTSD is PTSD is PTSD. However, I agree with that. When it comes to dealing with it, but there are certain things like your story. There are certain things I won't share with people that I don't know if they went to the same combat area as me, or they shared the same, ground, because I've seen where those stories get embellished, or somebody feels like they're not qualified enough, or this or that. And there's all these different things like, hey, I feel like I didn't do enough. I didn't lose enough body parts, or and it's important for us to kind of wrap that up in our minds about these perspectives. And I'm glad you're bringing this up. But there is a time and a place to talk about it, and the VA can't be prejudiced against PTSDs, meaning it can't categorize combat PTSD versus military sexual trauma versus this. So someone might come in a story and be like, hey, I was walking down the street and this cat walked across the street, and now I'm terrified from cats for the rest of my life, so I can't join the military because there might be I heard that there's a lion walking around on Camp Pendleton or something. So you put all these things together, and it's real. I mean, people have these things, but you have, and they didn't want you to be triggered, so they didn't want you to talk about it in the VA at one point. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there just so people can kind of understand where Miller's coming from as he's talking about these things that, you're like, hey man, I did this. And, you might talk about the situation where it may not always work out because people will feel like this. They'll be like, hey man, I saw guys getting shot right next to me. We were in the thick of things now. And then we moved to the next position the next day, and we did it day in and day out. And you're telling me that you shot your foot as soon as the door opened. And we did. We had you tell me the story. I mean, we had a corpsman that first step out of the freaking out of the LAV, and he puts the M16 on his foot and shoots his foot so he could go home.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. There are those guys. That exist. So I'm just putting that out there too. So go ahead, man. Tell your story. I just want to hear it.
Mental health is like it's one of those things, man. I was saying that's why I went the psychology route, because I know I struggled that first year, and then I made the decision to go at it alone. I didn't ask for help. I didn't go to the VA. I didn't do nothing. I didn't go to the VA a little later. I had an aunt that worked there for 30 something years or whatever the case. She was like, "You're going." I'm like, "I'm not going nowhere." She's like, "You're going." I'm like, "Nah, I'm not. Nobody's gonna be labeling me crazy and none of that shit. Like, I'm not going." And then so she made me go one day. This was years later after I came back, because I refused to go. Like, I was not gonna go. She even tried to get me with the money. She was like, "Well, the VA pays you for disability." I was like, "I don't give a shit." Like, I didn't care about none of that. Like, I just really, honestly, I didn't want anybody telling me that I was crazy. I didn't want nobody telling me that I'm nuts or some shit like that. I didn't want nobody labeling me. And it's a government entity. Like, I didn't want that in the records, that I came here for this and you document it, and then now I'm nuts and I can't get a job or whatever. I was so afraid, so I didn't go. So I just day to day just try to suck it up and deal with it, which is not the way to go. It's not. It just makes it worse and worse by the day. And you're yelling at people, you're disgruntled, and you're just pissed off, and you're a shell of yourself. And yeah, you should never, mental health, you should never go at it alone. Just to put that out there for anybody listening that's struggling. You should never do it alone. Don't try. Get a support system, because it's helpful.
Definitely. Hey, we're going to take a quick break for a PSA message, and then we'll come right back, and we'll talk a little bit more about whatever you want to talk about, and then talk about your transition and all that good stuff. So looking forward to that. Otis, it's great to have you on the show, brother. Appreciate you.
Absolutely, bro.
Hi, I'm Mike Richmond of the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs with this message for veterans. Are you a veteran with a VA service-connected disability? Would you like to go on a hiking expedition and build camaraderie with other veterans who are facing similar mental health challenges? No Barriers Warriors organizes these hikes through the breathtaking mountains in western North Carolina. No Barriers helps veterans redefine their identity and purpose as they face past and present challenges. Their programs allow veterans to overcome physical and emotional boundaries, push through adversity, and step up to serve others. Their hiking experiences have changed thousands of lives for the better. No Barriers will soon be taking applications for its 2023 North Carolina expeditions. Email Marlene at nobarriersusa.org. That's Marlene at nobarriersusa.org. I'm Mike Richmond.
Hey, we're back with Otis Miller, Corpsman, good buddy of mine. We go way back. We're part of a 15-man team that is on on a message stream together from a corpsman with 3.5, and it's really great to actually have these guys pop in from time to time that wants to get on. Ottis is he's in Hawaii doing a lot of stuff with MCCS. But yeah, we'll talk about that. Talk about how you got involved and your transition, whatever else you want to talk about. Any other stories you want to throw in there, feel free, brother.
Yeah. Yeah, like I was saying, that first year came back, it was kind of bad, and then I struggled through that, and then because of that, I started to get a little chubby. Actually, I got really fat, honestly, and then but like you know me, I'm not like a guy, so me being that short, all that weight didn't look that great, and but most people knew I was struggling through some stuff, so they just kind of just let it go. And then same thing, and then one day a good buddy of mine, he's a little camera shy, so I won't say his name, but good guy. Yeah, one day told me just tough love, like, dude, you're fat, dude, like, what the hell, you used to be so this and that and whatever, what are you doing? And that was the first day that I actually cried around anybody. Like, I poured tears on that guy. I told him a whole bunch of stuff, and he was just like, look, man, he's like, I don't know about none of that, because he's not in the military, he's just a friend of mine. So he was like, I don't know about none of that stuff. He's like, but we're gonna start getting you healthier, and hopefully that'll help with other stuff. So he started like walking me around the tracks and stuff. I was losing weight and getting better, feeling better, stuff like that. So that really started like the whole I want to be a personal trainer kick and all this other stuff. So that's how I kind of got into that. And then from there, I started working 24-hour fitnesses and things like that, and doing little gym work. And I was working in Coronado for a while, stuff like that. But prior to that, I worked in a Scripps hospital. So I worked at Scripps hospital and in the ER, and I was doing that for a little bit, and then even that was bad because they, I tried to work, but they were calling me aggressive and like you're yelling at the coworkers and all this stuff. I was still a little angry, but like I just forgot about how to be a civilian, because when you're in the military, there is no such thing as calling in sick, and you don't be like, oh, I don't feel like going in today, and just call in like, hey chief, like, not today, buddy. Like, it don't work that way. But you get in the civilian world, you can call in, and like people are saying, 2-3 guys will call in on the shift and be like, hey, Ottis, tell the charge nurse we got this going on or whatever, and I'm like, no, like, fuck that, you tell them. Like, so, they're trying to pass stuff through me, but I'm just like, dude, no, I'm still got that military in my head, so I'm just like, no, you tell them. Like, no, I'm not passing your lies off, bro. You tell them. So after a while, they started going to HR on me, and now I'm aggressive and I'm this and I'm that or whatever. So they moved me from there to Coronado, in dermatology, like the most docile thing that you can find. They moved me over there to try to keep me from jumping on people. And then so after a year of that, like, I was pretty much done. So but I started working in gyms and stuff like that. And then another buddy of mine told me that NCCS was hiring, so I took a shot at it, and that's how they ended up. I started off working for NCCS in Okinawa for a couple of years, and then from there I went to Camp Pendleton, and ultimately here to Hawaii. But the transition was pretty rocky. I had so much Marine Corps and military in my head that, like, I got an aggressive label put on me that I actually, by them calling me that, made me aggressive. I didn't feel like I was, but then they start saying bad things, this is why we tread water about hiring people from the military, because a lot of you guys are like this. And this whole stigma that they had in their head about prior military. Like, we like you guys because you're reliable and blah blah blah, but occasionally you guys come with this. Like, oh man, like, I'm already struggling with one thing, and then I come in here and you guys prejudged me before I got here. That was a little that actually made me aggressive. It's true. But but yeah, I started working for MCCS, like just working in the gyms and stuff like that. And at first I was working in the sports coordinator realm. With that, I was putting on a lot of tournament stuff, Marines on base. And then from there, I came out to California, and then I was doing Operation Adrenaline Rush. I was helping out with that. That program kind of died out because the funding wasn't there. But what they used to do was it was used for decompression. So when guys used to come back from deployment, we used to take them on trips. So we used to take them to almost like equivalent to like the single Marine program. Almost the same. Like take them on trips and like take them, on wakeboarding and going out to the beach and barbecue days and stuff like that. Just to give them some fun things to do. Nothing real dangerous, just so they can have a good time and like just decompress from deployment. And then we move on to the next unit, the same thing. And that was a pretty cool program. I got the chance to work for a while. And then but for the majority of what I was working with the gyms and the hit centers and stuff like that, doing hit programs and things like that, and helping the hit department out. But now, a promotion was available, and they offered it to me, and it was kind of hard to say no to Hawaii. So, and now I'm the department head for health promotions.
Yeah, and you've been out there for almost a year now.
Here? Oh no.
Or 6 months.
About 4, roughly.
Is it only? Yeah, 4 months.
That's fine for me too, though, man. It seems like it was a little longer. Because,
maybe because you were talking about it for so long before that, like, oh yeah, I made it to Hawaii, and then we're getting ready to go. It just seemed like you were there longer, but 4 months, yeah, that seems better. That seems more like.
Because once I applied, I got offered the job, and about 30 days later, so you can add another month to that. So it seems about that long. Yeah.
Well, it's great to see that you found these struggles, you doing this and that, and you kind of mentioned that you still want to help out. You're still helping out and doing stuff that are military related. You're still hanging around that era of things. You talked about how you put this podcast on sometimes because people listen to it and what it might mean to them or something like that. And so talk about why it is and how it is that you still are being influential on young, active duty military, and just trying to help them through life too, obviously in the gyms, with fitness and everything else in between.
Yeah. So I mentioned to you that I was going through your past shows, and I was listening to them, and sometimes I listen to them in the car on the way in, and then when I get there, I didn't get a chance to finish it, so I bring them in the office, the functional office where we're at, and I just play them and just listen to them in the background, just so I can finish them up. And one day a guy was like, "Oh, that's cool. What you playing back there?" So I let it go, and on the buddy of mine's podcast and stuff. So ever since that, I just played in the background because you never really know who you can help by doing just the smallest things sometimes. But in terms of like helping the guys, it's easier for me to work on base and not in transition, because no one's calling me aggressive and no one's in my face and no one's saying crazy stuff. So but I had a pretty decent time in, and I feel like I have a lot to offer for these guys. So now, being the department head for health promotions, it's way more open than just doing fitness and gyms. So now we promote health versus just fitness. We have fitness specialists here that do that part, so we can defer out to them. But as far as your overall health goes, yeah, we get to do all that. So the psychology portion of it, because I use, for anybody else out there, use your post 9/11, because I used them to the last penny. And I got I think almost 12 certifications out of them, and I got 5 degrees out of them too. So use your money that's available to you. You earned it. You guys went out there, you did what you had to do. Use it. You've earned it. Use it. Get what you can. Get what you feel like you deserve, because they're offering it to you. So you definitely take your educational your money, so you can get what you need, and then progress forward. But yeah, the psychology portion of it, yeah, me and these guys sometimes we'll do their body fat analysis and their resting metabolic rate and basal metabolic rate. We do all this technical stuff, but then after that we'll end up talking for about 45 minutes just about life, because sometimes a lot of these guys, they've been in for a while, they've done a few things, and they just need somebody to talk to. And like I was saying before, you never know how powerful just a conversation can be. So who am I to shut them out? When I actually had people shut me out when I needed somebody to talk to sometimes. So I would never do that to any of these. I know better, and I know a lot of their struggles. So I would never do that to them. So my bachelor's degree is actually in sports psychology. So I wanted to stay sports or fitness and health realm, but I didn't want to go straight psychology. So I went the sports psychology route with that, and yeah. So because of that, I'm able to talk to them in a counseling type platform. I'm not like a licensed psychologist, so I don't do that, but I just offer some help and talk, things like that. So that's definitely what I do now, and on top of helping them out with it.
No, that's amazing stuff. We got about 1 more minute right now, but I just want to let you know, hey, any last words that you want to say? And if somebody wants to get a hold of you, they definitely can through me, just so everybody knows. But feel free to put out any information that you might want. Again, he's in Hawaii, so he's doing all kinds of stuff in the health promotions department. So he's the director. He can make a lot of stuff happen. So Ottis, go ahead, man. Fill out any last blanks, brother.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. And if anybody ever finds themselves in the Hawaii area, if you can get on base, definitely just come by the fitness facility. And we have a functional office back there where we do a lot of our testing and things like that, as far as health related tests. So we can, always, help you out with your fitness needs, your health needs and things like that. And always, just put this out there really quick. Just sometimes when you can't achieve certain fitness goals, it's because you have a health issue that you don't know about. I had a thyroid issue before, didn't know that I was back when I was really trying hard and I couldn't regulate my weight. So I didn't know what a thyroid was. So the doctor told me. So sometimes things that you can't accomplish has nothing to do with your nutritional needs or things like that. Sometimes it's health related. So check your cholesterol and your blood pressures and things like that, and do what you got to do. Take care of yourself, because you want to be around here for a while, especially if you got kids, and things like that. So you want to be around here for your family and stuff like that. But yeah, man, I appreciate you coming and seeking me out, and giving me an opportunity to do this. Yeah, you can reach me through Chief here for sure. But MCCS Hawaii has a website that has a health promotions tab that you can just click on. You can get to me easily if you just have questions about your health or whatever the case. Just definitely talk to me. I don't have time to run through the whole resume, but I got a whole lot going on, and I'm board certified in a lot of things. So yeah, I got a whole lot of unnecessary knowledge in my head. So I'm here for anybody to pick my brain.
Hey, thanks a lot, Ottis, and feel free to get on here with me again sometime. But this is a platform, and Ottis made a huge point of any conversation. A good conversation can really go a long way. You never know what someone's going through, and he struggled with defining the lines of that, and that's something that's really hard. Because sometimes it's really hard to share your story because you may not be with like-minded people. And that's why we run warrior groups on Tuesday nights with combat vets. Other groups exist, other places exist. But hey, man, we're lucky to have some really great conversations with Ottis today. Till next time, hey, this is Aaron Siebert, retired Navy Chief, signing off. Strength and honor. Out.
Forever, that's for sure.